just like that, we're podcasting. I did hear there's like a windstorm coming in today. Have you heard that?
Power outages.
Yeah, I know. And if the power goes out, we lose the podcast.
Okay.
That's happened one other time.
Right.
So we could pray to whatever gods we need to pray with, that the next 2 hours will be good. But it's not very windy out right now. I think we'll be good.
I think we'll be good.
Last time I did that, because the cameras pick up their own audio.
Right.
So I had to release it with camera only audio. And it wasn't great.
It wasn't.
It wasn't great. But no, I just want to thank you for coming up. I've talked about my issues with Govan on the last podcast or two, so listeners are familiar with that.
Sure.
And I've referenced you as our dog trainer, and you just brought him back to the house. We've seen some vast improvements since you've taken him. And I was like, why don't you hop on the podcast and just talk about dogs?
I know. And I was like, hey, this is a great idea.
Well, and listeners beware, we both like to talk. When I go up to your facility, sometimes we're standing in your little like entryway there for an hour just shooting the shit.
Just shooting the shit. That's the way it goes.
But that's what makes for good podcasts.
That's right.
So yeah, before we go into anything specific about my dog or my situation, I just like people to kind of introduce themselves, who you are, where you came from, a little background on like how you got to where you are as a dog trainer.
Oh yeah.
And then we just shoot the shit and have fun.
Perfect. So I'm Jenn. I normally go by Jenn, and there's a funny story about that. So I've always been a little bit stubborn, opinionated. Was a little horse girl and grew up with dogs, terriers and cattle dogs and horses. So, and then goats and everything else.
Around here?
I did, yeah. My dad was a Cadillac GMC dealer. An Oldsmobile in Mount Vernon.
Okay.
And my parents broke up like everybody did, like when I was like 12. And instead of my earth shattering, I got a veterinarian stepdad, which was great.
Oh, okay. So you scored.
I scored. Gary was just an absolute gem. So he had the Highland Animal Clinic in Mount Vernon. And I, at like 14, was like, do you want to go sew up a dog with me? Yeah.
Go do what to it?
Sew it up.
Oh,
so this is before.
That's what I thought you said. So.
It's pretty funny. It's before they had all these animal emergency cares. Like veterinarians would take their own calls, and so I got to go. And these guys. It seems a little unreal now. Like we would show up at 1 a.m. and all these cougar chasing dogs would be torn up.
So people literally just call your house.
Yeah.
At 1 a.m.
Yeah, and you'd go down to the clinic and meet them. And I remember like some of my fondest memories were all like the bear hunting dogs. They'd come all torn up. And Gary would say, okay, kid, get on that side of that dog and start working. And I'd be like, what? I'm 14, and that was... But you only had so many sets of hands, so you just did what you had to do.
Yeah.
And so, and I love doing it. And then we get to payment, and he'd be like, oh, Doc, I don't have any money. Well, you got some guns?
Oh.
And they'd like drop a whole load of shotguns, and we'd hold them until they came back and paid. And it was wild. It was just completely wild.
You can't hunt with dogs anymore in Washington, right?
No. And so they took that away. And so we used to see that a lot. And there was two sides of it. The dogs were having a great time, but yeah, they get significantly torn up,
Yeah.
But those dogs were their own thing. Like they just, I remember guys coming to me like, oh, Doc, she don't need no anesthetic. Anesthesia. Oh, it's okay. You just give her some sutures, or just stitch it up, and we'd be like, no, you can't do that. Like we need to give her a little pain relief too.
Well, when I was a kid, my dad used to do that. I hunted with my dad when he would hunt like birds, but I never went big game hunting. And he would go hunt with one of his buddies and they would do that.
Yeah.
Bear and mountain lion.
It's crazy.
And I don't know where I stand on it either. Cause it's like, I mean, your dogs are getting fucked up. That feels wrong. But like you said, those dogs love that shit too.
Oh my God. They're having a time of their life.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and so you have to, then you kind of go back to the human thing. Like, what you're getting into. I don't know if a dog knows what it's getting into when it does that.
Yeah.
But the pursuit is the adrenaline and the drive and the dog. I mean, some of that's just so natural in them, that hunt drive. And
we're applying human emotions to it, right?
Right.
Like they're chasing a giant predator.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you chase a giant predator.
Yeah.
That makes sense though, because I mean, we just joked about it before we started about how when my dogs got in a fight, you just sewed them up.
Yep.
And fixed them. And I was like, oh, so she's kind of like a vet too.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that you actually grew up doing that shit.
I grew up doing it. And, like my own dogs, if something happens, I'm just like, I mean, they get nicks and things and it's just second nature. We just did that continually. I grew up just being at the vet clinic constantly. And you're either cleaning it or you're assisting or you play all roles. When I evolved from that, I left, and I was going to go to vet school. And I went to WSU and I just got there and was like, I don't want to go to vet school. I don't know what part of me. I just didn't want to do it anymore. So at that point, I was training dogs. I started with a guy that was training in our parking lot, when I was a kid. And so then I started training dogs and I got really interested in that. And I would help out any trainer that I could. And then that evolved. My family opened up a sitter stay pet hotel in school. So I was training just basic obedience and the old, Keeler method of dog training, William Keeler, and
I'm not familiar with him.
So he was kind of an old 80s guy and people would call him kind of the herk and jerk guy, but he really wasn't. If you read his book well, he always talked about the paychecks and rewarding a dog, right?
Herk and jerk. I actually don't want details on that.
Like just grab the dog up and make him do it. And I think if you read between the lines in his book, there was a lot of reward going on, but he talked more about disciplinary things and kind of the militaristic discipline. And now they've talked about behavior science a lot more. So early on, that's not how it was. Early on, it was like militaristic, jerk the choke chain, and then, you would, correct a dog, and then he would go into his spot, and then he'd do what he's supposed to do. Like, Govan, what are you doing, Govan? Go place. Go place.
Yeah, Govan is actually with us in the studio. Obviously, yeah. She's not talking to a ghost.
So Govan's here, and we got to keep him on the right channel now. So, but when he wrote that book, there was a lot of insightful things. One of the funniest things is he would describe dogs. He was one of the guys that said your dog sized you up in the first 5 minutes that he knows you. Mm-hmm. And you're the jerk, the romping partner, or the authority figure.
The jerk, the playmate, basically.
Yeah.
Or what was the third one?
The authority.
Okay.
And so, I train a lot like that. And I could see that in dogs where they're like, oh, the kid, I'm not taking him seriously. I can mouth him. He's like another puppy. Or, hey, I'm going to listen to you, except when it counts, then you're just a jerk and I'll do what I want. Or, no, I respect you and I'm going to do what I want. But there's more to that. There's more in the bond and the relationship and the reward sequence. And I think modern dog training really kind of goes into marker and reward system, how you tell a dog, yes, that's the right behavior, followed by a reward, and you're connecting the dots for the dog. And so one of my favorite trainers, Michael Ellis, he has a recording. And one of the things that he said in there, and I always tell my clients this, look, your correction can detour a dog from doing a behavior again, but your markers and your rewards are what holds the dog in a behavior. That's the motivation for the dog to continue to do that same behavior that you want versus just deterring them out of punishment.
Okay.
And I'm like, people have to understand that punishment-based training, and I've done a lot of it over the years, but it has its limitations. And suppression and punishment only gets you so far. If the dog doesn't feel comfortable in the behavior sequences and is not made to say, this is a good place to be, or this is a good behavior to do. And if that doesn't have some connected reward or pleasure for the dog, then they will go back and try the other one again.
I see. And this is actually fascinating because this is really, this comes down to leadership, right?
It does.
Because I talk about leadership very often, obviously from a human to human standpoint, but like in the military, there is a time and place when you're a young new private to kind of beat you down and strip you of your identity. But the true growth happens when leaderships or leaders are in positions where people respect them. Right. And they do what they say because they believe in them. They want to impress them. They want to show like, hey, I respect your authority. And it's all the same shit you just said.
It's the same thing. It's a fairness. It's like there's a certain... the relationship counts as well. And I agree with you. Like great leaders understand that. You're always trying to think ahead and saying, what's my troops' needs, or what are those things? And I watch my son go through that right now because he's an Army National Guard, and leadership issues come up, like troop welfare. It's like, and he, when you hear somebody like, he doesn't need to eat, he'll be fine. It's like, well, that's not troop welfare.
Yeah.
These are little things. But I agree. Let's go back to, like you said, there's a time to break them down, and we'll get some real dogs in that really are cocky. Like they've had no limitations put on them. A lot of the shelter dogs are like that. They don't understand anything because they have not had any structure. And then you go into how structure plays into things. And dogs thrive on structure. They really, really thrive on structure. And I think that is a huge thing that gets missed.
Yeah.
People can be nice, and nice does not necessarily mean that's going to get things done.
Yeah. No, I mean, I love this because there's a direct parallel. Sometimes, I say at the academy, people laugh, but sometimes you have to be a dick from a place of love.
Yeah.
And that's the foundation of why you're saying what you're saying, or why you're doing what you're doing.
Right.
Is to watch that person grow and become better.
Yeah.
And so it's like there's a time and place to be a dick, but just make sure you're doing it from a place of love instead of just being a dick.
Right.
And it's like a direct correlation.
The challenge with the dogs, though, like when you're leading people, you're never looking at people normally saying, "Oh, but he's so cute. Look at his cute little ears. He's so cute." I literally sometimes just have to turn around and smile. Dogs will do things that challenge you in a way, but it's adorable. But at the same time, it's totally unacceptable. And so it's like being a parent when you look at your kid and you're like, I know that's going to lead down the path to no good.
Yeah.
It's cute, but it's not.
Well, I was going to say I'm a father of 3 daughters. So I'm aware of that tactic too.
It is.
And I still fall for it. And they're 10, 13, and 16.
Yeah, you're cursed. Like you won't be able to get out of that. But the dogs are interesting. But if you go back to Kohler, like he also or Keeler, depends how you say it. His book, he has a chapter describing the real hood, the dog that was like the real hood,
like from the hood.
That's how he calls it.
Okay,
I don't know what he meant by that.
Well, no, I know what hood means. I just want to make sure we're not talking about some dog training apparatus.
Yeah, no, I think he really meant like the real prick dog.
Yeah.
And he goes in and he describes the dog that just challenges you. Like is literally, and people refer to that as the alpha dog or whatever. I think he described it best. So these dogs that just have a contempt for everything. And they're few and far between. There's not a lot of them. But when you come up against those dogs, they're the most challenging dogs because you're trying to create a relationship bond with them while training, but they have had such a lack of structure in almost everything. And I have dogs that walk in there and you can't touch them and they don't like touch. Like, so you go down and people say, well, how are you going to reward this dog? And one of the things that we do is structurally we'll manage the dog and they always have a leash on. They'll go in muzzle. They'll have a leash on. There's just like no choices now. It's like very limited choices for the dog. So now I'm able to actually start controlling scenarios and give freedom. So people always say, oh, and I get this all the time. I'm going to bring my dog in and he's reactive and everything. And he doesn't like food. He doesn't like toys. How are you going to reward him? And this is where training fails for a lot of people. I'm like, we're going to reward him with space. He wants space. He can earn in space. So like, I'm not going to invade his space and touch him because I don't like that. That's not a reward. But I can give pressure off the leash. So if I pull pressure and he takes a step forward, I can give him a release of pressure. And that's a reward. So that's the baseline that we start a lot of dogs in. Even puppies, very early we start that technique, but in a very soft way. But on these dogs that come in with behavior problems, space, freedom, ability to move about, all of that, it's on the table, right? Yeah.
So, I mean, it's, again, very similar to human psychology. Like the worst of the worst, what do we do with them? We put them in a cage and we take their freedom away.
Yeah.
And then as they become better people, they may start to have more freedoms, which is sad because similarly to people, I'm willing to bet the overwhelming majority of dogs that you see that are just the toughest cases for you to deal with.
Right.
It's probably, what would it be fair to guess, like 99% of the time from an improper upbringing?
It is. Well, there's genetics too.
Well, that's what I'm
And
saying.
same thing with people, right?
Yeah.
Like,
There are the outliers. It's like,
There
you
are.
just can't work with that dog.
yeah, I'd say probably 95%. I
Okay.
think there's probably, especially with everything that goes on now, I think there's like about a 5% that come through, and you just say, "Wow, this dog is a real convoluted bag of stuff, and it's going to be really hard to sort out." And often people fail the dogs. And they talk about that all the time. A lot of trainers talk about like, oh, the dogs don't fail, people fail them. And I'm like, most of the time, yes. But there's definitely cases that I'm like, I've been doing this for well over 30 years. And you know what? There are dogs that would be difficult for me to manage.
Yeah.
So like, how am I supposed to expect somebody with 3 kids in their home and everything else to manage that kind of behavior? That's the tough question. And then
Where do I fall on that spectrum? Because let me tell you.
you have a busy life, right?
Well, when everything was going good with Govan, everything was good.
Right.
But then as soon as he started having those behavior issues, one of which I showed you a video of,
Right.
that I didn't even really notice at the time. But when I had to bring him back to you, I was disappointed in myself. Because it's like, yeah, sure, when it's good, but I wasn't seeing the tendencies that were starting to take place and probably nip it in the bud when I could have.
Right. I think a lot of people go down that road because they're very compassionate with dogs, and they're often petting them. And in situations like this, I say, like, you've got to put it all on the table as currency. Petting, leaning into you, freedom, rolling around, food, playing with the other dog, going on a car ride, doing all those things. That's all currency. So you get to manipulate it to your factor, to like what works for you. And that's all structural management. When we talk about structural management, people go, what is that? And I'm like, well, think about how many times, normally when I see a case that comes on, just an unruly dog that comes in, I talk to people about that. And then I say, go home and start counting how many free things you give to your dog.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing you said to me. You're like, I see in pictures he's on your bed. Did he earn that? I'm like, no. He just likes to lay there.
Yeah. And
And that's what you said. That right there is a currency.
And the assumption is this, like from a trainer's perspective, and we make this mistake as trainers all the time. I'll have military or police or people that come from some kind of background where they understand structure, right? And I constantly have to educate myself again on this. Like, just because they've been exposed to structure doesn't mean they can deliver it to a dog.
Yeah.
And
Or
that's a
just
huge
because they
thing.
can expose, like, people to people leadership makes sense to me, but human to dog leadership, it's even though it's a lot of the same tenets, how you apply those are vastly different.
Right.
I'm not taking my privates and being like, here you go, here's a little treat. Good job.
Right.
Let's break off a piece of your pound cake from your MRE. Good
Right.
job. Here you go.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So that is a huge thing. And so when people structurally can't manage their dog and then they walk in and they've lived a structured life, you want to say, oh, you'll got this. Sometimes those are the people you have to go, look, because you've been so structurally managed and everything else in your life, I know you're not going to want to do it with your dog.
Yeah.
It's going to feel
that's
rotten to do it with your dog. You just want to have a dog. You just want to have a relationship. You just want this with your dog. But in fact, to get there, this dog is going to demand that you actually put some brakes on things and slow that process down, analyze it a little bit more.
Yeah.
And look at those things to make sure that they're doing the things that they need so that they can grow up and be a good dog. Govan's still intact. And so, that's one thing, he's at that adolescent puke age.
Yeah.
Does that correlate with a teenage boy that says,
it's 16-year-old me telling my dad, fuck you.
yeah,
That's what it is.
How many 16, 18, 19, those kids that hang around, how many times do they step up and say, I can kick your ass? Right?
Yeah. Well, and here's an interesting thing to bring up because I really want to highlight this. Me being me, who's operated inside of the world of violence, for lack of a better word,
Right.
from war to martial arts to fighting, just all the stuff is like, I'm very familiar with violence. So when he graduated from just like grumbling at me to showing me his teeth,
Yeah.
he caught an ass beating.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, he is actually, maybe he doesn't have the personality to be able to take an ass beating.
Right.
And now he has fear of you. And now you've disrupted your relationship. And I can tell you today, you said, we're going to start working with you guys together, but he's going to have a muzzle on. I could feel the energy from both of us go,
Yep.
we're not fighting each other. The option of a fight is now off the table. And as soon as I could relax too, he was relaxed. It went that calming energy went both ways.
Yep. And then we went over to the little doggy crate door. And then he started that growl thing again because he's like, oh, this is where I do this. So that's muscle memory,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, he would always grumble when I kennel him up. He would do it. He wouldn't question the command, but I would always interpret it as a little like, fuck you. Like slamming the bedroom door as a kid. That's kind of what that felt like.
Yep.
Okay.
And so you have an emotional dog that is also intelligent. And what did we talk about before, right? They kind of mirror us.
Yeah.
You always get some dog. And
People
you're
have
like,
said that to me since the day I got him, that he was sent to you, that he's my spirit animal. Like we're kind of one and the same.
yeah.
So
And it's more than an emotional support dog. It ends up being an emotional training dog where you learn to regulate your emotions. And I think the best thing that dogs teach to people is don't hold a grudge.
Yes.
When it's done, it's done. Now we're moving on. And if it comes up again, okay, we'll cross that bridge and then move on. And it's a hard thing because I think humanity is flawed with grudge holding.
Yes.
Right? I'm in the fourth year of trying to finalize a divorce. And when you look at all that, it seems ridiculous from a dog's point. I'm like,
Of course.
that
It's
should
like,
have been done with, okay, let's just get out, let's just move on and let people be people and and you don't own people, and dogs have that spirit of like, you get to have a dog. You might own it, but you get to have the dog.
Yeah.
And the dog is his own thing. No matter how much you train it, he's still an independent thing. You get to have the relationship with.
it's so funny you say that, because if I honestly, like, people know I'm an open book on the podcast. The biggest thing that I struggle with is past relationships that have spoiled.
Yeah. So hard.
It is, because it's like, this person said this and then they made me feel this. But if you go talk to that person, they're saying the same thing. Greg said this and then he didn't do that. And it's like, and I can sit here logically and think about like my relationships that are estranged right now. And some of these people are like my own sister, for one. Like, we have been estranged for a while. And maybe that's what he was sent to teach me. It's like, bro,
Don't carry it.
we can have our differences, and then we can also move on. And moving on doesn't necessarily mean that person continues to have a seat at your table,
Right.
but carrying that, like, I don't even know what you would call it, just that like stress of a spoiled relationship is hard for me at times.
To me, it's like, frayed threads that they just are frazzled on the end. And I want to tidy it up and say, it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be a mess. It doesn't have to be like it was, but it just needs to get, like, forgiveness is a great thing, because it doesn't mean you condoned everything. It doesn't. It just meant that your heart is easy now on it. And there are things that, there are those relationships that I have like that. I realize now those people did the best they could with what they had at the moment in time. Like, they met me where they could.
Yeah. And as opposed to making it about you, like they were doing something to you.
No, they just did what they could at the time. And and so how can you be mad at somebody for just doing what they could with the skills on their plate, and they're not at that point in their life, or maybe they're not there. And it's the same thing with the dogs. It's really hard to be mad at a dog for not, doing a full training regimen for you if he's never been trained and he can't meet you at that level.
Yeah.
And so when you look at that, and I think it's a more peaceful way in life to live like that, where you just say, okay. And it's tough because I'll catch myself.
Well, and that's what I was just going to say. For me, it's not an arrival point. It's like, all right, I have forgiven you and I have peace in my heart and we're moving on. Because many days I do hold that energy for certain people.
Yeah.
And then like maybe you have a dream or you start thinking about, well, why did that person say this to me? And it's like, and now you start spiraling, and dogs don't do that.
They don't. And now, like for me, when my brain goes that way, I think of 5 really good times you had with that person.
Oh, that's probably a superpower right there.
It is. And just
take the negative energy and just bury it with positive energy.
And the dogs teach you that too. Because what do I do when I'm having difficulty with a dog? I take him back to something that's easier and more pleasant that we can do successfully together and say, this is the level you can meet me on, and that's okay. We'll do this. And then we'll get to the difficult stuff.
Yeah.
And for people, sometimes we just won't get to the difficult. That's where that ends. But it doesn't mean I have to lament on the most horrible days or anything else. What I can do is say, hey, this is as much as this person had to give, but I love what they gave at the time that they did. And I have fond memories.
Wow.
And I don't have to, and anybody that's gone through like divorce and stuff like that knows that.
Well,
and instead of me trying to erase it,
yeah.
like why you don't have to erase it. And that has been my struggle. Like,
well, that's a really powerful thing to hear from you because, I mean, obviously we're not going to air out any of your dirty laundry on the show, but your divorce wasn't a rather pleasant one, we could say. It had some very dark moments in it.
It did. And, a lot of my fault. And I think that's a big thing. You got to look at your spot.
That's the key right there, isn't it?
You got to look at like, I could have done better.
Mm-hmm.
I could have done a lot better. There's a lot of things. And then the same thing applies to yourself. But I have to forgive myself and say, when I was losing my dad, there was just a lot of things, pivotal things happening all at once. And I think I'm at my capacity.
Yeah.
And then I had to say, well, why? Why did this all happen at this time? And I thought, I know why. It's time to grow.
Yeah.
It's time to grow. And it's time to really dig in and grow. And so a lot happened, like my dad's, cancer and him dying and dealing with the estate and dealing with family and, the divorce going on at the same time. And it's just like so much.
When it rains, it pours.
And you're like, wow, like, and everybody's like, well, God only gives you what you can deal with on your plate. And I'm like, I don't need a buffet. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm full. I don't want another bite.
Please don't put another cheesecake on this, okay? Like, I'm done.
I wonder if women understand this better than men, just inherently, because like me and Jenny have been on the brink of divorce a couple times. Like, everyone thinks we have this perfect marriage because from the outside looking in, everybody else is perfect, right?
Right.
But we've been through some really, really tough seasons. And the one time when we did come to an agreement, like, hey, it's over. This is fucking it. She came to me and said that almost verbatim. She said, well, if we're going to go our separate ways, I just want to acknowledge my role, what I could have done better, where I feel like I failed you. Right. And it's like, fuck, dude. Like,
why'd you have to do that? I want to fight.
Now, yeah, exactly. Now I have to do that, Right. But it's a really powerful tool because once you take ownership over problems, the next step is solution based. Yeah. Whereas fuck you, we're just spiraling the drain.
And then if you spew hate and that's what you're doing, that's also what you attract.
Yeah.
Then you're going to get and it's been really hard going through that. My business went through transition at the same time. It's always, you're clawing when you have a business. You're like, I'm going to claw my way to make this work. And
being a small business owner, no one ever said it's going to be easy,
especially in Washington State.
And I'll say this too, because we went through some really tough seasons of business, but we're currently in a good season. So, I mean, it's not all bad.
No.
There's good seasons as well. Your business is like a relationship though. There's ups and downs. That's just the reality of it.
There is. And it's, somebody said to me, like, well, maybe you're just working too hard and maybe you should just let it go if it's owning all your time. And then I spent a week thinking about that. I was like, should I be doing that? Should I be the one that just lightens my load, gets rid of everything, and just kind of travels around like a nomad and doesn't have anything to do? And I was like, oh God, no, that wouldn't work for me. I would create more work for myself somehow.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think I talked about that last week, literally, where there's times in my life where I do just want, let's just shut the gym down and let's just fucking disappear. But escaping, if you think that's what that's trying to do is run from problems.
Yeah.
They're going to follow you.
Or it's not even a problem. You just create new ones for yourself. Like, because if you're a doer in life, your brain will not rest. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, maybe it is that work that we do. And for me, it's saving a lot of dogs.
Yeah.
And, and I'm like, well, what would they do otherwise? And then just like that, I'll get a text message. And I got one last night. And it wasn't a rescue dog, but Judge Mike Rickert and Piper Egan, they came to me about 10 years ago. And I had a 2-year-old Jack Russell named Rupert. And he wasn't really fitting in with my pack. He was supposed to be my dog. But he didn't want to be a pack dog. He wanted to be a solo dog. And I could just tell this with how he is. And my friend Diane Goddard, she says, go see Jenn. She'll sell you one of her personal Jack Russells. So they arrive and I'm like, what do you mean I'm going to sell you my personal dog? I'm going to sell you my personal dog.
And then you sold them your personal dog?
Yes, I did. Shameful. I was like...
Yeah, but if you know it's going to be better suited for the animal, again, you're doing that from a place of love and concern.
And they'll tell you, right? And so this is my little buddy. I've got pictures with him. Rupert was awesome. And they come and I'm like, all right, yeah, and they had a really aggressive Jack Russell before. So he's a little short Jack and he's just absolutely cool, little tricolor, vibrant personality. They take him home and they're like, oh my God, he's so well trained. We've never had a trained dog like this. And so I'm like, all right, well, come bring him back in. We'll talk about it. They just did a kind of like trial period. Mm-hmm. That dog walks back in and they came back to the veterinary clinic. We had that at the time. And they walk back in the door and I'm like, hey, Rupert. Cold shoulders. He's like, you're not my mom anymore.
And you're like, ouch.
I was like, wow, is I that bad? And I said, well, how'd it go? And they're like, oh, he's been sleeping in bed right at the top of the pillow. I'm like, okay, exactly what I told you not to do. Yeah. And I'm like, so he's clearly taken over. He owns them. Mm-hmm. And that's the relationship they want with the dog.
There you go. They're betas themselves.
Right. They want that relationship. And this dog now travels back and forth, Mike retired and they go to, down to the desert or Arizona or something. And so last night I get this, thank you for introducing us to Rupert. Just a random check-in picture of him in the easy chair. He's 12 years old. They just wanted to say what a difference he's made in their life.
That's so cool.
And those are the messages that keep the mission going.
Yeah.
Because you say, oh, it really wasn't just about the dog. These people needed this dog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're completing a piece of their family.
Yeah, and then you look at the studies. Your blood pressure is lower when you have the dog in the lap. You have all these things and you think, wow, we're really making a bigger difference in people's lives in general.
Yeah.
That people have their identities wrapped up in dogs, and that's the way they are.
Yeah.
And so that is such the other part that ties in, and it's difficult because you wrap it back into the training thing. And you're like, yeah, I don't want to be tough on this dog, but I don't want him to get out of his home. I want him to stay in his home.
Yeah.
And I want him to be successful. So we have to figure it out. We have to figure out, why is he behaving like this? What are all the components? What structural changes need to be made? All these different things. And it goes on and on. So we can't be good dog trainers without slowing that process down and looking at that. And our industry is really interesting right now. Like, I've been through a couple different marketing companies, and they want us to hard sell everybody on a big package when they come in. And
it's all bullshit.
It feels so dirty,
well,
and it's just not us.
You are selling something similar to what I'm selling is a service. right?
Yeah.
Like in my business, I'm helping the individual person develop a capability, and through that capability, they develop confidence, and they're more even keel, and they see that start to play into other areas of their life. You're like doing the exact same thing, but you're doing it with their dogs. And what I've noticed is, man, you can't. There isn't like, I've tried this online ad and ClickFunnels and set up a trial and all that stuff, and it's like, what really works is when your facility, and your facility has this, when you walk into your facility, you get a vibe for how you conduct yourself, how you train the dogs, the people that are there, how you guys interact with each other. And when people walk in there, they're going to feel probably almost immediately like, this is in alignment with what I'm looking for, or it isn't.
Right.
And that's what we find at the gym. And a lot of people, when they walk through this door, you can see them kind of light up because they feel like, oh, I've found a place that works for me. Yep. And you're not going to feel that on a Facebook ad. You're not going to, it's just not reality. And so I do think there's a way of maybe like spreading the message of who you are. But as soon as you try and lock people in, when you don't know, we always say we offer a 1-week trial period, and we kind of jokingly throw it in there, but it's also truth. It's like, hey, the trial period isn't just for you.
Right.
It's for everybody.
Right.
And that's a reality of any type of training where you have different personalities involved. Yeah. And I bet, is it the same with dogs, I would assume?
It is. And, we had some folks, I think last week, they came to like a day training, big rowdy Rottweiler, that was, came in on a harness, peed everywhere. He's 18 months old, no structure. And he was a lot to handle all day. Came in for our day training program. Mm-hmm. And then I'm the lead trainer there. I chose to put him on an e-collar. I was like, big boy here, who's 100 pounds, just needs to settle out. And I'm not going to get my shoulders yarded out trying to control him. So we went right to e-collar, tapping him off of things and rewarding. And by the end of the day, they came and I walked him out, and we had a busy night. We had rally obedience group class going. We had all this stuff. And I have to walk by like 12 dogs, and he's dog reactive. So we walk right out. And the first thing the person says to me that's picking up the dog, what is that on his neck?
Oh, God, man.
So it's a training tool. It's an e-collar, as you can see. We're doing really well. His focus is on the handler now. I made him sit 12, 13 times on the way up. Rewarded him. He's not unhappy. He's wagging his tail. Things are fine. But I'm holding him accountable for every step, right? And not just letting his brain go off. And we just walk by all these dogs, And I didn't authorize that. I feel violated.
Oh, my God, dude.
Okay, guess what? So very kindly.
And here's the problem with that, because I don't see that very often here, but I have had it with one parent as making their kids do flutter kicks with their legs. Yeah. We're ending practice with some physical fitness. Right. He came to a martial arts academy. Why are you treating my kids like a drill sergeant? I said, I'm doing the exercise with them.
Right.
But here's the problem. It can be martial arts. It can be dog training. It can be anything. Right. If you decide to put your trust in someone and attend their program, if you don't like it, don't come back. Very simple. Exactly. But to come in here and start saying this or that, like you just said, you started dog training when you were 14, 12?
I was working with a trainer at 18.
So you have this vast experience and knowledge. And because that person feels like you're being mean to their dog, they're just giving you an emotional response instead of just taking the opportunity to sit back and be like, oh, wait, my dog's actually behaving better right now. You said, he was wagging his tail. He was seating when you said seats. The stuff was working, but they're hyper-focused on
the equipment on the dog instead of saying, why does that work better than my harness? I want to understand that.
Exactly.
And so what you can't fix, I can fix the dogs, but the real training is for the people. Yeah. And if they're not open-minded enough, and if they're not smart enough to say, what I'm doing isn't working, and obviously what she's doing is. Well,
and that requires humility.
It does.
And that's why when I come here, I'm like, Jenn, help me fix my fucking dog, because remember what I told you last time? You're the black belt.
Yeah.
And you were telling me like, no, hold the leash this way. Hey, when he does this, you do this. And then if he does that, you do that. And then if he does this, you do that. And I was like, okay, my brain understands the concept, but just like jujitsu, you have to react in real time. Because if you have to think about something, sometimes it's too late. And we talked about that. I said, that's why you're the black belt here.
Yeah.
And so I can't come to a weekend course with you and become a competent dog trainer. I just simply can't. And some people that that haven't had a path that's taken 20 years to become proficient at something, like I can apply jujitsu directly to how you work dogs. You see everything.
Right.
You notice the tiniest nuances when the dog puts the tiniest pressure on you or blades its body a certain way.
Yep.
Like you have a black belt understanding of what's happening and then you react immediately. That's something that I don't care who you are. I don't care how gifted you are. You can't get that. You couldn't get that in a 12-week course.
No.
You couldn't get that in a year course.
It takes time.
It's a black belt.
And it's not, you often don't hear great dog trainers talking about it. You have Ivan Balbanov, you have Robert Cabral and Larry Cronin, but they're all humble. So they're not really talking about why they have the juice, you know? They don't talk about that.
Or maybe they just don't have that. For me, everything has a martial arts correlation because that's how my brain works.
Right.
So maybe they're not even aware of how good they are. So that could be your thing. You could start a belted dog trainer academy.
There you go.
Show up, put your white belt on. You don't know shit.
Right.
And guess what? In jiu-jitsu, you don't know shit for a year.
It's a humbling process,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And there's no easy button. And I mean, obviously, that's why the shelter dogs are at massive populations now, because people think, I'm just going to get a dog and it's going to do what I want. Oh, it doesn't fit into my life.
Let's get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
It's crazy.
it feels really gross. Me and Jenny talk about this often because the only time when you give up on a dog, and I've given up on one dog, and it kind of hurts my soul, but it's like the only time you give up on a dog is when it becomes a danger to your family.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, someone's going to get hurt.
Right.
I can understand that if someone's like, hey, I have a 2-year-old and I can't have this thing in my house anymore. I understand.
We've walked people through that. And sometimes it's me coming to them and saying, I have to have a hard talk with you.
This doesn't make sense.
This dog has a switch. He is an inherent danger
Well,
to not
I mean,
only potentially you, but anybody. And he's a massive liability. And that is the worst conversation to have. And I've had to do it far too many times.
well, is it because, let me ask you this, because I've been familiar with Malinois since the year 2000 because I was in special operations.
Right.
And I'm even not a proficient Malinois handler. I can admit that. Like I have a better understanding than most, but the truth about a Malinois is it takes somebody that can really handle a dog. The reason we're sitting here is because I had to outsource that to you. I can
Right.
admit that. You're the black belt, right?
Right.
Even though I'm not a competent dog trainer, I at least understand what these dogs need, and I'm
They're
outsourcing it to you. People think they can just get a Malinois. It's fucking bizarre.
There's so many.
Where did that come from? Did you? Because you've
I
been.
think the movie industry, and now you have social media, so everybody's posting, oh, I just do this with this dog. I'm like, great. And now we live in this society where even social media and reels, right? What are those? They're short, fragmented things. So you're only seeing the end product. You're not seeing the year that you spent doing jujitsu development. You're seeing a tiny segment of, oh, that looks cool. I want that too.
Yeah.
And it's not a shirt. It's not a belt that you buy. It's not a hat. It's a dog, and you have to build it, and you have to build a relationship with it. And it can take many paths as you go. And so it's a really interesting thing that all these people just go out and get them. And they don't even read. Like the ones that are up, I always talk about this with Darby, who has Wolf Project Rescue.
Which is where Goves is from.
Yeah. And so you like People just put an application in without even reading about the dog. And she'll always like, no, what part of this dog can't live with 4 cats, 6 children, and 18 chickens? Like, what part of the dog's like history here that we wrote out carefully?
Yeah, it's not like you guys just came up with a story. Like, you're trying to pair this dog with the optimal home. They don't care.
They look at the picture and say, I want that dog. And I'm like, why would you pick a dog out by a picture? Mm-hmm. You pick a dog out by its temperament. You pick it out of the reasons. You don't pick a dog by its, oh, it's cute. So, like, here's a perfect example. A couple weeks back, there's a chunky, short little dog named Binks down at the Stockton shelter in California. So our other partner rescue, Happy Tales, Happy Homes, I sent a picture to Jenna, and I'm like, look, if this dog is as easy as he says he probably is going to be, and he's probably going to be a pain in the ass, but he's got some fundraising for training. I'll help with this dog. And he's got these cute little rounded off ears. It looks like a teddy bear. You can see him all over our social media. Binks. Send him. So they save him. They get 18 applications on him immediately because of his look.
How cute he is.
Yeah, and he's hard-headed. Oh. You know, like, he is hard-headed. I'm like, get your paws off me. Get your paws off me. You know, like I have to carry a PVC bar and push it in his face.
What kind of dog is it again?
They think he's like a corgi, kelpie, something. You know,
okay.
He's just this little rotund. We'll have to do DNA on them. So, of course, you know, this always happens to me. So then, you know, it's 2 a.m. I can't sleep. I'm looking at Facebook.
Welcome to the club.
Oh, Thackeray. Thackeray is a tan version of Binks. And it turns out Thackeray and Binks came in together. They're brothers.
Oh, shit.
And this is Sunday. It's like 2 a.m. Thackeray is supposed to get killed at 7 a.m. for space.
What is up with that?
So
is it because, like, is there any type of like priority, meaning like this dog is dangerous? So
I'll tell you what's happening. It's crazy, and the public just doesn't pay attention, but they should know. There's an explosion. People started breeding dogs and not, you know, and then the vet appointments started tightening up. There's not enough veterinarians. So you have this massive explosion of pet population. You have certain cultures that just don't believe in spay and neuter. And so you have this massive population of stray dogs, you know. And years ago when I went down to San Antonio, yeah, you saw stray dogs on the street. You wouldn't see them wandering around. Now you're starting to see that up here. You're starting to see breeds in the shelters that you would never have seen in the shelters up here before. And they're overrun. So most dogs get about a 30-day run in the shelter, and then they're up on the euthanasia list.
Dude, how could you... I mean, I'm not saying I have a better solution because it's a fucked up situation, right?
Yeah.
But I know personally, I couldn't work at a shelter and feed and house a dog for 30 days and then be like, all right, bro, time's up. Come with me. Like, that would haunt me.
Well, you worked for a city, right?
Yeah.
It's a funding issue.
Uh-huh.
And the dogs get kennel crazy. And so they're giving you behaviors that are, you know...
Yeah, less than optimal.
Yeah. And is that torture in its own thing? And those dogs take a lot of work. I get all facets of it. I don't have an absolute solution. But these people that get dogs and like, I'm going to breed a litter of German Shepherds. I'm like, why? Why are you doing that right now?
Yeah.
Thousands and thousands of them in the shelters.
Mm-hmm.
Thousands of pit bulls, thousands of Malinois, thousands of German Shepherds. I see collies, pugs, Frenchies. They're all there.
Yeah.
All of them.
Go rescue a dog.
Yeah.
If you want a dog, go rescue a dog.
Go rescue
and
a
like
dog.
that's what when we weren't even necessarily like fully looking. We were just kind of interested again. Mm-hmm. And remember, we came up to your shelter and that one dog got attitude with me. Who was that?
Yeah. Koa.
Koa. And Koa's a cool looking dog and like kind of cool energy, but still kind of had some fuck you in you or in him. And you were the one. You're like, he's not a good fit for you. That's not going to work. And I was like, okay.
Immediately. I'm like, nope.
And then you came across him because you're very tied in. So you're with Wolf Project. What was the other one you said?
Yeah, Wolf Project. So there's like 3 major Malinois rescues across the United States.
Let's put the ones that you want to put in the show notes below, so
Yeah.
people can actually look and if they're interested,
Right.
and try and get eyes on that.
Woof Project has been around for a long time, and recently Darby Hart, who's the president, took over full management of it and is doing a great job. That operates all the way down to Arizona and now Texas.
Okay.
So they're all up and down. So they're not just a local rescue, and they have transport for dogs all the way far over to Montana, Arizona, even to Wyoming, down through Colorado, and then all the way down to Texas. And it's pretty impressive.
Dude, it is. He was found in the desert east of Los Angeles, dumped.
Whole litter dumped.
And he is a great Malinois.
So what happens, we assume the whole litter is dumped. But some of these Malinois, like my puppy, who I call Ditch Puppy, because the current one that I have right now is 6 months old, he was dumped in a ditch with his brother at 3 weeks of age.
Dude, it takes a certain kind of evil
Yeah, right?
to just throw a puppy out on its own at 3 weeks.
Ugh. And somebody found it.
Yeah.
So they got bottle fed. And
what do you feed? Bottle fed. What do you feed them? Just like whole milk?
they have Esabalac. It's like they have a puppy milk replacer.
Okay.
Or goat's milk.
Okay.
They do well on goat's milk too. But my pup, he's kind of insane. We're doing some French ring sport training. And so he's a nice pup. I don't know how big he's going to get. He seems a little shrimpy to me, but that's okay. So RV life,
Yeah.
So
yeah, it might be a blessing in
might
disguise.
be a blessing. He's not huge.
One of my jiu-jitsu students that brings his dog here sometimes, it's a Malinois, very well disciplined. Like he does a lot of work with her, but she's literally like this tall.
Yeah, tiny.
It's like a little dwarf.
Yeah.
I've never
that's
seen that before.
My Meg is like that. She's only 40 pounds. The mini Mals are kind of fun. I call them mini Mals.
Yeah.
So pocket Mals, we call them pocket Mals. But Wolf Project, getting back to them, they operate all over, and their job is huge. I think the biggest thing people like, oh, that's a lot for adoption fee. And I'm like, these dogs have to be vetted.
Wait,
Often we have to neuter them or spay them.
Wasn't it $800?
It's theirs run between $550 and $800.
Okay.
And
$550 and $800 to have a dog driven up here from California.
right.
Have it like there's a lot of different people involved in the process.
Microchip, heartworm tested, rabies vaccine, baseline vaccines, dewormed, housed,
Yeah, everybody's just always looking to fucking scam everybody.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like these people are going, and I'm going to bet that the people that are overseeing the operation at Wolf Project are probably not making exceptional amounts of money through this.
They don't make any.
Okay, there you have it. They don't make any.
Most dog
And I wouldn't
rescues.
be down on them if they did make a little bit of money, because
That's what I said.
your time is valuable and you're doing something honorable.
It's a non-for-profit rescue, just like United Way or any other non-for-profit, right? But dog rescues, there is a problem. Like it does have a lot of compassionate people in it, but then there are some rescues that their books are not above grade, and who knows what they're doing with all their funding.
Yeah.
Somebody's
Such as any
Right.
any industry. You
Right.
got good players and shitty people.
And I always tell people, ask for the yearly meeting notes. If you want to know, like Happy Tales, Happy Homes that we work with up in Bellingham, they have board meetings. All their finances are right above par. They're great, and they make really conscientious choices. And they do a lot of their rescue is very different. Wolf Project is multi-state. And then they have big operations, and they do like calendar sales, and you can buy things on their website and you make donations to them. Happy Tales, Happy Homes has Pause for a Beer. They have a lot of like do good fun events in the Bellingham area. So they're very localized, but they fundraise very differently.
Yeah.
Again, every one of the people involved in it are volunteering their time. They are school teachers and people, and like I talked to Jenna this morning, transport for a dog that's coming up got canceled. So now she has to rearrange. She has to go down tomorrow night now at 1:30 a.m. to Edmonds and meet transport to get a dog. Unpaid. And she has to pick a dog up and take it up for a neuter and drop it off all before she goes and teaches school the next day.
Yeah.
Like that, it's, she carries that on a daily basis. She runs the rescue and does that day in and day out, and then goes to a rescue event and then transports 4 dogs to that and meets somebody for a puppy and then takes a phone call that somebody, I don't want to foster anymore. Can you come get this dog and remove it when you have no place to move it?
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
I
Like
bet fostering would be tough for me too. I mean, it's better than a dog going into a kennel. But I know it's like, if I had a dog in my house for a month, I'd be like, all right, this is my homie now. He stays.
it is, but it goes back to like Rupert. Like,
Yeah,
I get these message. There is the best thing, because people say that, and I'm like, no. But when you get a message and you see the dog living its best life, and it's not with you, but it's got its person, and it's one dog with one person, or it has its thing. I mean, there's nothing better than seeing those successes.
One of my buddies was just telling me about an adoption agency where people come into a room and they'll have a bunch of dogs that are just like roaming around, and
They do.
and the dog picks the person.
It's kind of a viral thing on Facebook right now. I think there's a video going around. And yeah,
Is it pretty neat? I haven't seen it.
it is. But I'm like, I don't know. Like, to me, I'm like, maybe that's good, and maybe it's good social media. But maybe the trainer should interview you. Maybe we should, put the dog through some paces. Because just because the dog comes up and happens to like your perfume and licks you doesn't mean you're compatible. You know? It's like human beings, right? Like, maybe that's not a great idea. I think sometimes
It's just
they say
it's like a viral dating show.
right. It is. It's like, how people say, you know what? I'm going to let your friends pick your next boyfriend, because you suck at it. I think that's often the case. I like tell people, don't pick your own dog. You're terrible at it. And so when you talk about it from that perspective and picking out a dog, I always tell people, why don't you go consult the trainer? Get their opinion on what dog you should bring into your home.
Yeah.
And go through temperaments and put the dog through its paces.
Well, and that's what we did with you, and I think it was the best decision we've ever made.
Yeah.
Because just based on what you knew about him, you're like, this seems like the right fit.
Yeah, raised in a daycare. The foster family was a daycare.
And when we picked him up at Edmonds at 2 a.m, because that's when the transport gets here from Los Angeles, it was immediate. It was like, oh, wow, this is the right energy.
Yeah.
Is Wolf Project primarily Malinois, or are they all dogs?
Well, they do Malinois buddies too. So that was a contention for a while.
What does that mean?
It was a true breed rescue for a while where it was just Malinois.
Okay.
But like many people, Darby has a big heart for some of the bully breeds and everything. So they'll pull an occasional dog. I think there's a boxer named Louis right now that's available for adoption. And there's some German Shepherd crosses and everything. Because you don't get insulated from it. You can't it's just hard to be like, no, we're only doing this. And very few times do I see the rescues only do their breed.
Yeah.
Like you'll see other ones slide in, like buddy dogs, like here's a terrier. Go good with your Malinois, as you know, right?
Yeah.
Right?
No, well, that was a funny thing when we got introduced to you. You're like, well, my specialties are Jack Russells and Malinois. And I was like, oh, well, welcome to our family.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Although the Jacks, as you just saw an hour ago, still jump on the kitchen table. So
I know.
We have some work to do.
I think we need to train the owner. And I immediately said, get his e-collar and let him know it's not a happy place to be.
I am not in charge of the Jacks. Those are the girls' dogs.
Those are the girls' dogs, yeah.
I don't need more on my plate. And Kobe has become, him and Reagan are like emotionally codependent on each other.
Oh.
And it's on one hand, it's cool. And then on the other hand, you're like, is this a dysfunctional relationship?
It might be. Mine were all my Jack Russells. I got my first Jack Russell. Okay, this is funny. Like I was like, Mom, I want this puppy. I was a horse girl. Of course I wanted a Jack Russell, a little short Jack Russell. And
how old were you?
Gosh, I was like 13.
Okay.
13, 14. And so I was like, I want my first Jack Russell. So I go to a babysitting job. And these kids were terrible. the parents didn't show back up 6 hours later. They showed back up like 14 hours later. They just decided, we got a babysitter. We're leaving these
You
crazy
doubled their
kids.
rates, I'm hoping.
I don't think I ever got paid that well. Long story short, this kid that I was watching stuck a fork into the outlet, like tried to catch it on fire. I was like, what? Like, I'm 14. Like, I'm babysitting, like, but I'm not. Like, these are juvenile delinquents. Like, what is wrong with these children? I remember taking his dad's shirt and tying it, put him in it, and tying him to a chair. Like, I don't know what else to do with you. He's trying to throw bed sheets out a window and kill himself. And, like, I'm like, and I can't get hold of the parents. They're, like, in Seattle having a great time.
Yeah, the days before cell phones.
So how's that tie into my dog? So
I don't know.
get
It was
home.
part of you wanting a Jack Russell. So.
Yeah. So I get home. Finally, I was supposed to be home at like 5 p.m. It's like, finally get a ride home from the guy that, the parents should back up and take me back to my house. And my mom has gone down and gotten this Jack Russell puppy.
Oh, wow.
So after a hellacious day where I've decided I will never have children, like this was the defining moment of like, birth control is good.
You hear that? You hear that, Gus? You lucked out.
I know.
You lucked out.
He was the mistake. No, he was wanted very much so. But I tell you, this Jack Russell, her name was Puck. And from there on, I sorted people. People like, Puck, like hockey puck. I'm like, yeah, because I take the stick to the dog all the time. Oh, come on, right? And they'd be like, no. Or they'd say, oh, as in Shakespeare. And that was my division of people for a very long time.
Damn it, I would have been a hockey puck
I
person.
know. I'd be like, put him in that group. Right? So, anyways, I raise her, and we have ferrets, so I get to watch.
Jack Russells
And ferrets.
can't be around ferrets, right?
Well, yeah, and I'll tell you why. Because they stick their nose in the cage, and then the ferret gets a hold of it. And then there's a crying puppy with its nose clamped by. These things are like, I watched all this unfold. And no, eventually my Jack Russell got along with the ferrets. It was crazy.
Because my youngest daughter is always talking about wanting a ferret. But Kobe eats any rodent he can catch and swallows them whole. And I've watched him swallow a squirrel whole.
Oh, jeez.
Swear to God. Have you ever watched a snake eat?
Yeah.
You know how they like kink their neck back and forth and the rat tail gets pulled in?
Yeah.
He did that with a squirrel and swallowed the whole
That's
thing.
insane. We need to get a bigger rat and watch this. Like a Norwegian rat. You know, the big ones?
Well, did I ever tell you back when my daughters had a cat? It was an outdoor cat. It would go out. I don't know if you looked in our backyard while you were there, but it's all woods behind us.
Okay.
The cat would jump the fence, catch mice and rats, jump back up on the fence, and throw them to the dogs.
Oh, fun.
And it would get to the point where Kobe would eat 1 to 2 mice or rats a day.
Oh, my goodness.
And so we called the vet and we're like, our dog is literally living on wild rats. Is there any concern? And the vet said, if you were on the East Coast, there would be some like heartworm concerns.
Right.
But around here, no, you're just saving money on food.
Yeah. Just do worm occasionally. Some tapeworms and you're good. Oh, my goodness.
But then that cat, I mean, it's like fucking National Geographic in our backyard. That cat got eaten by coyotes.
Oh, yeah.
And now his food source came to a screeching halt.
Right. He's like, where's the cat?
I know.
Right.
And they were working in unison. It was
they were.
bizarre, dude.
It's insane. Jack Russells, like, they're furry, little, friendly, nice little dogs, and they're your lap buddy, but they are killing machines.
Yes.
I took mine. Puck went to college with me over at WSU, and I kept my horse there on a wheat farmer's land. They had a dressage barn, a horse riding barn. And so they went to move the hay one year where they pull all the pallets.
And there's rats and mice under there.
Mice.
Yeah.
Sea of mice because it's in the middle of 20,000 acres of wheat. And so I was like, okay, Puck. So they moved the first pallet, and the whole floor is moving with mice. And my dog went in. It was like an aha moment as a dog trainer. I was like, here's my dog. And she's suddenly just this insane Cujo killing machine. And she would snag a mouse, flip it, break its neck, next. And she was killing, I think, a mouse a second.
Kobe would love that.
Yeah, it was like crazy. And then when she comes out, her tongue's hanging down. There's blood streaks everywhere. She's just like, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. I thought you were
my
this.
dog?
Yeah, I thought you were this sweet thing.
She was awesome and loved it. So from there on out, if I go to the horse barn and put my boots on and didn't take her, I'd come back and she'd grab something paper and shred it and leave it at the door.
Oh, kind of fuck you for not letting me kill mice.
I'm supposed to be going and killing mice.
Dang.
Behind.
Well, dude, check this out. I'm sure you're familiar with this. He wouldn't just eat the mice, but he'd like chase them around. The cat wouldn't kill him.
Oh yeah, that's
And
cats.
you also saw the dog
Sadistic.
door. The cat would sometimes bring him in and throw him like in the kitchen or the living room.
Yeah.
And then you got the dogs chasing mice around the house. Fucking pandemonium.
Right.
So when the cat finally got eaten itself, which I didn't want that to happen. That was fucking catastrophic.
Right.
Because the girls found him.
Oh.
Yeah, it was fucked up. But we're like, man, Kobe loved chasing mice so much he never gets to do it anymore. There's a place in Monroe that's called like rat hunting.
Oh, barn hunt.
Barn hunt. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we took him to barn hunt. Same thing. Nuts.
Right.
Loved it. And I don't have anything negative to say about the barn hunting community, but it's just kind of strange.
It is.
It wasn't our vibe.
Yeah.
If it was people that like we vibed with, we'd probably go there once every week or two, let them do that. It was just a strange vibe. And I guess if the sport is bring your dogs to our barn so they can chase rodents, maybe that'd be better. Maybe that is gonna attract a motley crew of people.
It's now locked into like you can get an AKC title and stuff. So it's an actual sport. So people are chasing titles.
Yeah, but
and they'll get a ratty.
The sad part is they don't get to eat the rat at the end.
No.
The rats are in these like plexiglass tubes with holes drilled in them so they can see them and smell them, but they don't actually get any contact with the rat.
We did it for a little while at
Oh,
my
did
dad's
you?
building. That was pretty funny. When my dad was alive and he had the building where we're at now.
All right, well, sorry for calling barn hunt people weirdos if you used to be into it.
Just a very short time. I got a wrong vibe too, but we did it. I was like, I'll just do it my way. So we're going to do it in my building so I can control the vibe. But we did. And I told my dad, I'm like, can I do this dog sporting thing in your building? He's like, yeah, okay. So
The same building you guys are in now?
Yeah.
Back
But
when it was half car stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So I just had a little corner I was training floor where the like cafe is now. And then where the main training floor is, we fenced that in with 4-foot fence. And I brought a bunch of horse mats in and I filled it with hay. And God, my dad's face. Oh, he walked in. He's like, why is there fucking hay in my car shop? And I'm like, it's a dog sport. And, it's blowing around. And he's like, you have to keep it all in there. And I'm like, oh my God. So we had to like build little things. And we had it in there for a while. And I was like, I can't do this. Like, it was so much cleanup.
Well, where do you keep the rats?
Oh, that's a whole nother story.
Because you're going to have to
rats.
feed them and water them and all that shit.
So I kept them there on site in these rat cages and go down and take care of them and everything. And one of the rats was a biting rat. And that little bastard,
I think all of them should be biting rats.
Oh.
You're putting me in these tubes to be chased around by these monsters.
Yeah.
Their whole life is
No,
just
a couple of them are sweet.
trauma.
They pretty much figured out the dogs aren't going to get them. And so they're just like, hey, I'm just going to sit here and eat my piece of cheese or my snack in my tube and I'm good, right?
Dude.
And one of them would make noise. So he'd always clue the dogs in where he was at because you'd hear him like, he's like chewing stuff. He'd make this weird noise. And I'm like, well, there's the rat. That's pretty obvious. And so he'd do that. And I had to clean up a rat. But this one rat, it was just nasty and would always chomp your finger or something. And I remember the last time.
I'd leave the end of the tube open accidentally.
Well, one time I'm carrying them.
Oh, yeah.
They're out to move them. And the cage drops. And one bolts away.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm trying to jump on top of it. So now I'm outside the building. It's like 10:30 at night. I'm chasing a rat. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Dude,
like,
only humans.
I know.
It's the most human thing
I'm like,
I've
here,
ever
rat,
seen.
rat, here, rat, rat. And like, what if it, and of course it heads to the trailer park next door. I'm like, be free, little rat, right? And then the next
You
one.
should have just let Puck out.
I did.
Oh, okay.
But man, that thing darted so fast. And I was like, here's your chance. And I'm like, get that rat. And, because I was like, I don't want it loose and then coming back in the building. And we had commenced doing barn hunts. So I was like, we're not going to do it anymore. So then I have this. And of course, it's not the nasty rat. The nice rat left.
Oh,
So now
yeah.
I have the
Of
nasty
course.
rat. So I take it up to my house and we have it. We finally moved. A guy that was working for us, John, he was grooming at Highland Animal Clinic. I'm like, hey, yeah, okay, we're going to move this stuff next. I was paying him to help us move. And I said, don't touch that rat. And like 10 minutes later, he comes in, he's bleeding. His finger's just bleeding like a sieve. And he's like, I touched the rat. I was like, of course you touched the rat. I told you. It looked nice. And I'm like, it's not nice. And so we let that rat go.
Yeah.
So it's running the hills of Mount Vernon, like breeding, biting rats or
Yeah,
something.
of course.
It's just terrible, but...
Did you ever work canines?
I didn't. I did just Corey work where I would, help, like helper. Like
What,
go
what do you
hide.
mean by Corey?
Like you would, Corey, you would just go out and be the guy that was hiding. Like you go do the hide.
Okay.
And then,
And then you'd get bit?
bite you at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get a couple bruises through that bite sleeve and good fun. I wasn't scared, so it was great. When I worked for King County, I got to do that, go down and do that down at the, they do it down in container shipping yards.
Okay.
Down in South Seattle.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. So
Are there dogs, or I guess it probably changes, but I know some dogs are primarily trained through like Schitzend to like bite the arms.
right.
And then other dogs are trained in like PSA where they'll bite your foot if that's what's available.
Actually, the PSA, the French ring sport stuff, is very precision based.
Is
And
it
the
really?
dogs, and it's very interesting. I have a high respect for it. The dogs have to be civil.
Well, hold on. Before we go into that, do I have that wrong then is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. What's the difference then?
When you're training, often, the dog will be on the tug to start with.
Mm-hmm.
And then for your shin and your upper knee, they will take a longer tug, put in their foot, and start to orientate the position to get the dog to learn how to turn his face, and his teeth are on the outside.
For leg bites.
That's right.
Okay.
And then the reward comes when the dog gets the bite correctly. So you reward them with a little more tug and everything, so that the motivation is to get the dog to bite the correct areas. And my pup right now is learning positional stuff. So decoys will often, the rear leg, if the dog chases that leg, you lose points because that's not a strategic move for the dog. So people pivot with a back foot, like you kind of open the gate and move your leg backward.
Mm-hmm.
With a dog that's learning to bite, they should go for that front leg because it's the anchor leg. It's not going to move
Oh,
if they're targeting that
so
back
that's
leg.
what's going to incapacitate them quicker.
Right. So that's how you train that. And then you start to move up to, your bites up here. And then, where the pectoral muscle is, like that bite as well. Sometimes they just have to take that because arms are flinging, right? You think about center mass, right?
Yeah.
What's always available? Right there.
Yeah.
So they can, take hold of that. But these arm bites and stuff, and you see dogs in sport ring, often the decoy can get the good decoys. They learn how to kind of get away. And dogs that are not strategic on their bites, that will happen to them. Well, it's timed, so you're losing points when the dog goes for a bite and misses and comes back. So in the training process, you're teaching them to be very precise and pick where that is. And then, of course, there's all the conflict. You have clatter sticks, you have other things. And people say, oh, he's hurting that dog. They're not hurting the dog. The clatter stick is bouncing off their harness and the line and creating vibration and stuff. And now you'll see, if you go watch PS sports down in, California, there's a big group because the weather's better, right?
Yeah.
And you're doing that all the time. And you'll see, they have pool noodles, they have water, like they throw all kinds of conflicts at the dogs.
Well,
And
that's what I was going to say. All the clatter sticks, all that stuff, it's just simulating chaos, right?
It is.
Because when you bite a real suspect, they're going to be screaming and slapping and kicking and all that stuff.
dogs have to have a lot of heart and stay in it.
Okay.
Right? And you see like some of the dogs like down in Vegas, that little Mal that was stabbed up really good.
Mm-hmm.
And the recent dog that wasn't amputated, those dogs just stayed in the game. And I think it's like people, you don't know who that dog's going to be.
Who's going to be the savages and who's not.
I don't think like a dog can get stabbed and say, that's it, I'm out. You
Yeah.
know? But the males are pretty gritty. They will stay in and keep on bite and not go away. And it's always interesting to see, is that something you can train, or is it like people? It's in them, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've been around people that when the chaos hits, like they could have trained through a million scenarios and been fine. But when it's real,
Yep.
Curled up in a ball, like, I'm done, I'm out.
I know you're training your dog in bite work. Are you involved in like actively training any type of police or military dogs in bite work?
No, I'm not. My path could have gone that direction, but the path for me has always been behavior modification. Like I've spent such a lifetime of doing dogs that have gone wayward or, had problems, or rehabbing a dog. And if you're going to do bite work or protection work or just train in that specialty, you don't have time to do anything else.
I see.
You have hours upon hours upon hours. And I have to say...
you'd be trying to wear too many hats at that point.
Yeah, I have friends that do that. And I don't know that it's a big money-making enterprise if you add in every hour that they spend.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe they're making a living at it. Maybe they're breeding litters and doing that.
Can't you scam the government with like big contracts and overcharge them by 7,000%?
But you have big people like Von Lick that have been at it for a very long time, and they produce mass amounts. The sad thing is, I'm on the other end of it, and I think I'd have a hard time doing that now because I'm doing the cleanup work with all the dogs
with all the fucked
rescues.
Up dogs. So
or dump dogs, or like, hey, we bred this bitch had a litter of 20. We don't want 6 of these. So, and they're not, and these guys are producing litter after litter after litter. They're not tracking down. They don't take the dogs back if they don't work out. Mm-hmm. It's a cold process where they cull them out,
What about dogs that are retired? I know you always hear it's like, oh, this was my partner for 5 years. He's retired. And now I'm taking him home. But that's probably the exception, not the rule, right?
It is. And it doesn't mean those people have the money to support them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very pro, like, if those dogs are going to do service, they should have a lifetime insurance policy paid for them. And they should have a certain amount of money available to them. I don't think the police officers, especially on some of the smaller departments, they're not making huge money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They should not have to pay for that. That dog did public service. That is a bunch of BS. Those dogs should nationwide have retirement policies.
No, I like that. It's just kind of like taking care of your veterans. You know, it's the same concept.
Yeah.
Instead of just throwing them out like they're just, all right, they're no good anymore. They're all used up.
Some of those handlers go on to get another dog, or they maybe have family and the dog is not stable enough to go home and live in that environment, or they're gone too much.
Yeah.
Right? How many times you work law enforcement, you're not home for 12 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a single dude, like, who's going to watch that dog, right? That happens. But Mike Ritland, he does a Warrior Dog Foundation. I'm a big,
his book's right there.
That's right.
Unfuck America.
There you go. There's Mike, right?
Mike's rad. Have you ever met Mike?
I have met Mike.
Okay.
And he's been down at the Working Dog conferences, and I've met him at SHOT Show. He's very humble.
Yeah.
Great guy. I love his dog food, Team Dog. I think.
Yep.
Team Dog is the way to go. I just 3 more people this last week. I'm like, get your dog on Team Dog.
Do you know? I'm assuming you do because you're still very immersed in the bite world, even though it's not like an official part of your training.
Right.
What's kind of the climate on Washington State sending dogs on people right now? Do you know? Because I know they don't want people choking people anymore.
No, I mean, you still have Snow County actively having dogs.
Okay.
Cedar Woolley has a dog now. I think it comes from the chief down. It's the leadership, city councils down.
I see.
So I think you're going to have a harder problem in jurisdictions like Seattle.
Well, one of the jurisdictions, and I don't remember which one it was, but you'll get a kick out of this. They said the only way you can have a dog is if every officer is trained to out them off of a bite as opposed to just the dog handler, because the first officer there has to out the dog, not the dog trainer. And it's like, you guys are trying to implement shit. You have no idea what you're talking about.
It's such an ignorant statement.
That's what I'm saying, right?
They're not robots.
Like that, and it's the same thing with these city council people telling officers what chokes work and what chokes are dangerous. And it's like, hey, dummy, choking someone out with a rear naked choke is the safest way for every party involved.
I think often these city councils need to go back to kindergarten and make a chart. Here's the chart. Here's what we want.
Because,
right?
Well, let me ask you this.
It's a great idea. I will say that.
Yeah, in theory, right?
In theory.
But now you have an untrained person trying to out a fucking Malinois that's
and how about
mauling
the suspect?
someone.
What if the suspect just outs him? I mean, what's the difference between the suspect and the
just
officer that they
another
don't know?
random officer.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that's the problem. Mm-hmm. And even if the dog was diligent to the command with every person, I guarantee that dog is going to be timid when it takes a hit. To get a dog, I mean, are we talking doodles now? We're going to deploy doodles?
What do you mean?
Like, then let's just get a golden doodle and take that on patrol.
Okay. You're saying a dog that would listen to an entire department of people doesn't have the right kind of drive.
It's not a therapy dog.
I see. Yeah.
I mean, it's a certain kind of therapy. It's a don't commit crime therapy. But I mean, the thing is then you got to go back and you got to say, why is it so bad that the dog is biting somebody?
Yeah, exactly.
This
isn't a traffic. This isn't a speeding ticket.
That's the thing. The criminals, as you know, and the ones that I dealt with, they don't want to be bit by the dog. Mm-hmm. They're like, don't send the dog. Don't send the dog. You know? And so
I would be saying don't send the dog. Like the thought. I mean, I've been around my team in 04 and Ramadi had 2 monster mouths. Mm-hmm. And they were dual trained for both detection of explosives and bite work. And I never saw them get sent on a bite. We primarily used them for explosive ordnance detection. Right. But still, I mean, the dogs that the special operations units were getting back then were like the nastiest mouths in the world. I would be
not house pets.
I would be fucking terrified if that thing was sent. Either one of those were sent on me.
Yep. And they're not. They have a hard time outing those dogs.
Well, you know what's crazy is, like I said, I never saw them actually bite a real person. But even doing detection work, when it's like they find a bomb and you give them their ball, taking the ball from them, I saw our handlers have to choke them unconscious.
Yep.
Like a drive that most people can't even comprehend.
Yeah, that's the dog I got from Wolf Project Oakley. He came like that. Mm-hmm. Oh, he'd swallow it. He's the worst resource guarder ever. Yeah. And of course, I was dumb enough to say, I think I like him.
Yeah, but that's your homie now.
Yeah. So I lost Oakley this year.
Yeah, that sucks.
But he was, oh my God, he was such a banana. I got him. I actually had black German Shepherds, you know. Mm-hmm. And so I had Dietrich first, and I got him, my mom again. Surprised me on my 21st birthday, drove me down, and we were going to a horse tack store. And I was like, this is an odd place for a tack store. And should we drive up? And there's this litter of, 12
It's the same thing I did with Reagan and Kobe.
Yeah.
I said, hey, it's going to be a long day. We have to drive to Eastern Oregon because they have a part for my diesel pickup that I can't find locally.
Yeah.
And you guys are coming with me. It's like, oh, they're in the car. They're all poopy all day. And they just reached like their, you know how it is when you got multiple kids in a car. It's
breaking
the
point.
clock has started.
Right.
And right before we got there, they started bitching and fighting. And then we pulled up and they're like, we're not in an auto parts store. What's this? And then they looked and they could see all the puppies through the fence. Gotcha.
It's so funny how that goes. Well, I got Dietrich, and you talk about picking puppy temperaments, right? Mm-hmm. I'm probably having this conversation every 2 or 3 weeks with somebody. So knowing what I knew then at 21, I went and I thought, okay. So they said, you get pick. I'm like, okay. So I'm watching, and I picked this analytical big male who all the dogs are playing, but Dietrich stood back and would analyze things. And then he'd precisely go in and just kick everybody's ass and topple everything. But he did it it was a strategy. Mm-hmm. He had a strategy. I was like, I want that dog. That's the thinker.
You say he was a black German Shepherd?
Black German Shepherd. Okay. And he was 100 pounds, 105. And I was like, this is the dog I want. So he was awesome. He had that plush coat, beautiful dog. And when I got hired by King County, I had to get in shape to do the whole PAT and everything. Mm-hmm. And I was coming off having thyroid cancer, and Gene was deployed, and so
You've had a gnarly life.
yeah, super crazy,
You've been
right?
through some shit, dude.
And I was like, I don't want to be behind I was dispatching at the time, and I was like, I don't want to be behind the radio. Like, this sucks. And it's like a hen house in the dispatch center.
The dispatch center, I've always said, man, like the dispatch center is kind of a dark place. It's
is.
like you're sitting in my department. The dispatch center was literally like way down in a basement. No windows, no nothing.
It's always literally and figuratively a dark place.
Yeah.
And you got a lot of unhappy people eating a lot of food often.
Well, dude, and you're sitting there all day
Yeah.
listening to people's problems. Like that has to take a toll on you.
It's stressful because at least where I was dispatching, like you had to answer your police radio and the phone.
Oh, okay.
So you have both sides of your ears going.
Yeah.
And then you've got...
I never thought about that, but that makes perfect sense because they're taking the calls and then they're telling us over the radio what's up.
Right. And then they're hypercritical of how you're doing things. And then you have to type fast. You have to be precise. You have to be thinking ahead. And you're responsible for people's lives. And then you've got random people, like crazy people calling in. Like, I've got Jonathan. He's in my butter dish.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of, okay. Are you going to keep him there for a while? And then you have somebody break out X-ray 24 in a foot pursuit. Okay, we're dealing with Jonathan in the butter dish, and we've got a foot pursuit going on.
Well,
you just have weird stuff happening all the time.
And let me ask you this, because I've always thought about how, at least when I show up to a call, I get to decide how I handle it. Whereas you're almost like directing people to a problem that after that, you don't. It would just seem like kind of powerless position where you're waiting for shit to play out.
And the hard thing is if you're not asking the right questions, and dispatchers, you got to give it to them. It's a very, very, very stressful job. And it's kind of roulette. Like you can go through, a ton of calls. Mm-hmm. No big deal. Easy to solve that one. Done that one a million times. Then you get the call.
Yeah.
And when you get the call, like I was on the phone with a kid that called and said, I murdered my sister. She's in the freezer. Or I found my sister dead. She's in the freezer. Okay. And how long's she been there? You got to act like all right, cool.
This is normal.
Yeah. Tell me some more, And, and I remember the police were really close on that call. So I remember asking some questions. And, the first thing I'm going to ask next, right, is, do you know who put her there? Mm-hmm. He says, well, I did. And then you're like,
fuck.
And you hear an officer is pulling up and you're like, oh crap. And you're like, are you clear for traffic? You're out with the suspect.
Yeah.
I have an admission on tape. Like you're out with the suspect. Like you're telling everybody like right there. And you're just like, now you just back off and you stay off the air and you're just waiting. You're like,
yeah, and isn't that the case with all first responders? It's
mm-hmm.
like more often than not, the calls you're responding to might not be like life-changing, mm-hmm. but then there's that one.
Yep.
And what a weird life we used to live.
Yeah.
And
I was living it. I got to do some of it. I didn't do it as long as most people. It didn't work out for me. But put a couple of years in.
What a blessing.
What a blessing
in disguise.
Yeah.
Then is that where you moved into dog training full time after law enforcement?
Yeah. I ran the clinic for a while. My mom got Alzheimer's. So I just I have to help the family out. And then, just kept training and then just did it full time as soon as I got out of having to run the clinic. But, during that whole process, like in my lifetime, when Gene was working Seattle police, horrible things happening. Mm-hmm. Iraq, Afghanistan, Seattle police, and
so he was Army Reserve while he was police?
He was actually, it was pretty good.
Or National?
He had done Army National Guard. And then he moved over to Air Force with his friend Steve. And he was in the 141st, attached to that refueling wing as security forces.
Oh, so then he was deploying.
He was one of the first ones to go. I was like, you're in the chair force. I mean, like, why are you going?
Yeah.
I didn't understand.
Well, there was a time there where if you were in the military mm-hmm. for a full enlistment, expect a deployment. Yeah. I don't care what your MOS was.
Right.
Like everybody was mobilized.
Yeah, he was immediately right after 9/11. Off he went.
Mm-hmm.
And
how long were his deployments?
he was like 4 or 5 months. And then, he went, all I got was like, the one that was at the beginning was terrible because I had no communication. We were not set for that at all. And the public wasn't set and the system wasn't set. I remember.
No, I remember those because I was in during 9/11. Those early deployments, I'll talk to you when I get home.
First year, and he was in Seattle and he left and just, we had just talked about a couple places he might go. And like a couple months later, I get a postcard on an MRE box that says I'm in that second place we talked about. That was it. I'm fine. It basically said I'm fine. And, I had a big problem, which contributed to a lot of problems in our marriage of like, why are you abandoning us? Like, why are you so cold? Why are you not, why are you not loving? Why are you not like, hey, I miss you? Why is it all?
I've never heard it from the other side.
I was like, why?
I feel like
did
crying
I do something?
right now.
Did I do something wrong? And then like, I felt really unwanted and, I didn't always have a good relationship with my dad. So of course,
that starts bubbling out.
Oh my God, like all of it. And so, things just fell apart, and I didn't know. I didn't know that he did his best at his capacity at that time.
Well, and here's the other thing from the side of the man that's deployed, and this is going to sound like insensitive as fuck, but I don't want to know what's going on back home. I don't want to hear about your problems or the bills or what's not working right at the office. Like I don't have the capacity for that shit. And I did the same thing. You can ask Jenny. When I left, I left.
Yeah.
And even after, by my last deployment was 2009. So by that time, you could call home and you could FaceTime, all this shit. And I still chose not to because I'd been through this routine so many times that I knew I was better deployed when I left. I just left.
That's what he did,
and now hearing
hard.
that from your side, it's like, it hurts my heart because it's like
we'd only been married a year. I thought he left.
Oh shit.
I thought, oh fuck, this guy's left me with a kid. And then my health insurance was cut off by Seattle police.
Why?
The city of Seattle. Because they didn't have that thing where they kept it in thing, like
that's
soldiers and
illegal.
sailors. It is now, but at the time it wasn't. And I was dealing with thyroid cancer, and I was like,
"What
I'm really getting the shaft here."
What a good thing that got straightened out.
Yeah,
like families back home getting cut off of their benefits because their husbands are going to war.
Yeah, then they
and
took
volunteering for war too. We're all volunteer military.
It's terrible.
Then.
We were like, we had to file a bankruptcy. We had car payments, a new house payment. We lived in Big Lake. They took my dispatcher money to pay his government credit card bill for all his flights. They just took it out of the account.
God, man.
And I was like, what the hell? And I had too much pride. I would not go to my family and say, can I take a loan?
Yeah.
So I remember.
That's the word. I have got to that place at times. And it's like, nothing makes you feel like a bigger failure than running to mommy when you're 28 or whatever.
Yeah. I couldn't handle it. So I remember our cars getting to the point, my car got to a point where we were behind on payments. And I'm a single mom, basically, because he's gone. And I'm dealing with everything.
How old was Gus during this?
He's a year old.
Okay.
He's just a baby. And, year and a half, he's going to my mom's. He's going up to Aunt Nancy and Uncle Mike's. I mean, he's all over the place. And I'm trying to, and dispatch life, they keep mandating you in. They're shorthanded.
Yeah.
Like, you're mandating me? Do you know what's going on in my life?
Mandos are a whole nother conversation. Yeah. It's like, you can't be an electrician or you can't be anything.
Yeah.
And your phone goes off and it says, hey, you're mandatory tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, what? But in the world of law enforcement, it's normal.
Absolutely.
You're showing up tomorrow.
Dispatch, civil service, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Dude, that's such a dark thing to sit here and talk about because it's like, dude, you yourself are you're working inside of public service. Your husband is not only a police officer, but he also got deployed to Iraq or Afghanistan, and no one's helping you with anything.
No.
Like this dysfunctional government.
Oh, it gets
fuck,
better.
Man.
Then Fairchild Wives Club calls. Hey, we're having a potluck. Would you like to come? And what dish can you bring?
Oh, so he was based out of Spokane.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they want me to come Okay, we're barely making it.
Yeah, I'm gonna drive
anything.
6 hours to bring you guys some beef stew.
Yo, I was pissed. I don't remember what I said. It was not good.
Yeah.
And I was, and his pay wasn't coming through.
Dude.
So I have no check. They're taking my money to pay his government card, and they show up to repo my car.
That's like white trash shit.
I know. I laid in the driveway.
Please tell me it was on an episode of Operation Repo. You remember that one?
Unfortunately, it was not. I think it should have been. I'm like, call my work. I'm a dispatcher. I'm like, you will not take my only mode of transportation. I'm like, no. My dad's a car dealer, I could have solved that.
Yeah.
But I was
You're
like,
too emotional.
no,
Yeah.
to me, it was
And what
just
were you at the
hideous.
time? 27 or something?
Yeah, 28.
28.
And I
okay.
was like, so I'm laying in the driveway, and I'm like, Soldiers and Sailors Relief Act, Soldiers and Sailors Relief Act. It is illegal. You cannot do this. And I'm screaming, and the guy
I was just gonna say that poor guy is just like, what in the fuck?
and
dude?
he goes, I don't know anything about that,
Yeah, of course he doesn't.
but I'm not going to take your car. And this is the first time I have not taken
Wow.
a car. And I was like,
So your fucking antics paid off, right?
I got cleaned the car.
But how gross is that? The 28-year-old mom.
Rips you of your humanity.
Yeah,
Like,
it's fucked, man.
it is so fucked.
Well, and that goes into exactly what we were saying earlier. It's like everybody puts a lot of like pride and honor around military service, public service, all that stuff. There's a lot of dysfunction in it too.
Oh, there's massive dysfunction in it.
And I love I have no idea how the business is doing on the inside of the books or anything, but when I walk in and look at your facility, feels like you're in a season of life where you're fucking winning.
We're getting there. I knew it's a couple years when you really have to double down and just grow. Mm-hmm. And growth costs you money, so you're not netting up. We're kind of there right now.
What was that when the facility basically took over the full other side? You've doubled your square footage, right?
My God, that was like a stupid moment. I was like, because I'm a visionary.
Mm-hmm.
And, I have a bookkeeper now because I'm like, we got to make the numbers run, but I'm a visionary. And so all I could see is what you see.
Yeah, okay.
That's
So that was
the
the long-term plan for a long time.
I wouldn't say long term. It's just up in my head. What they were doing is I had the one side of the building, which is more utilitarian. I had the fencing put in there and everything. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of the loading dock side that got unclosed. So it's a weird space. But the next space, and then we took over the front glass space when that came available because I wanted a bathroom.
I loved it when you guys got a bathroom, by the way.
Yeah. It's like everybody loves the bathroom. It's a real one with heat, not an outhouse. So then when Dave took over, he bought the property 3 weeks before you want to talk about something weird. Dave walked in to buy the facility on 4th of July. My dad died on July 29th. He got introduced as, here's my friend. It's on 4th of July. I'm like, yeah, you want to have a burger? And I'm like, I thought he was the motorcycle guy, Russ's friend. Mm-hmm. I thought he was just joking. Oh yeah, he wants to buy the facility. So we're back there shooting the shit.
So you don't own it anymore?
No.
Oh, okay, I thought you did.
No, I wanted to, but it was wrapped up in my dad's estate and was messy. So I was like, I can't do this. So this guy walks in and he's a cash buyer of all things. Mm-hmm. 3 weeks before my dad dies, and the place has to be sold upon my dad's death per his, his estate wrapped up with his, his wife that had died 14 years prior or 17 years or whatever. So it's just a mess. And I read through the things and I'm like, I don't want to be at it with my step siblings. Just sell it.
Yeah.
Just sell it. Get them paid. I just want to far remove
I see
myself
what
from
you did.
conflict.
So then you sell it, everybody's happy, and now you basically have a tenant relationship with him?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he does, but it's so weird that he walked in, no inspection, cash buyer. Mm-hmm. Talk about angels, right?
Yeah.
So that.
Yeah, because if that hadn't happened, everything would have had to get divided up.
And really weird, and it still would have been for sale. But I have a great landlord. He's really great. It's very communicative, and it's just been really great. And he actually ended up buying my the Hinton family LLC and bought the Harbor Freight property.
Okay.
And all that as well. But he that was just such a weird thing. My dad was going through pancreatic cancer, and you knew he was going to die, and the property hadn't sold, and this guy walks in, and so we were on 4th of July eating hamburgers with him. I'm like, yeah, sure, you want to buy the property? So we're just being ourselves.
He just pulls out his checkbook.
No, he walks back in with a real estate agent 2 days later, and I'm like, oh, snap. And I guess he liked us so much that he wanted to buy the property.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. So he's just been, that's just worked out. So then last year, the motorcycle guy pulls up. His business fails. And they're showing it to kids' gymnastics. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's going to go well. Let's put some aggressive dogs in the parking lot with some little gymnasts.
Yeah. Malinois training and gymnastics.
Oh, it's just like, oh, I don't think this is a good mix. And talking to the real estate guy about it. And then I finally approached them with a graduated lease and said, can I get a graduated lease? Because I can't bite it all at once. Mm-hmm. And it's still going to be a lot to choke down. But here we go. And so we did. And then it's just been, okay, I'm going to short-term finance these mats. And I'm going to short-term finance it. And you just start rolling out the pieces. Mm-hmm. That's what it's been. And we're about full now. We have Stellar Motion moving in. So I had some friends reach out. They're doing rehabilitation prevention stuff. And they're putting a water treadmill for dogs.
Okay.
It's like a $50,000 machine. That goes in the 1st of January 6th.
Wow.
And we're going to share a little bit of space with them. They're taking the glass.
Is that for any
offices.
dog for exercise or
Yes.
specific ones that have like hip issues or something?
Both.
Okay.
And they can bill insurance and they're all certified. And so they do and they'll do laser therapy and they do everything. So we thought it'd be a good mix. So we're going to see how that goes. And that's Stellar Motion and brand new. And they're enthusiastic, great people.
Well, in your academy is called Rocket Dog.
Yeah, you know about that?
No, I'm saying we haven't given that a shout out yet because a lot of people that listen are also local, right?
Yeah.
And so like if you're within a few hours of Mount Vernon and your dog is having any type of behavioral issues, I promise you won't be disappointed taking your dog up to your facility and just either working with you like we've done before or literally just sometimes drop the dog off.
Right.
And say, I said, Jen, call me when you think he needs to be picked up.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, this last time I started getting a little anxiety because
I noticed.
it's so long, right? But then I have to remember, you're the black belt. Stop interjecting my emotions if I miss my dog and let you decide. And then in addition to that, we had a record flood hit that flooded your facility. Well, the facility did not get flooded because you...
It didn't.
Because you built a sandbag wall, right?
We did a sandbag wall, but the levee held. And the last load of sandbags around 10:30 went up and took a picture, and it was right up there.
Wow.
It was like the highest I've ever seen it. It's like about 18 inches from the top. And we walked up there earlier in the day, and I was like, wow, if this is not cresting till 4 a.m., we're going to get hit.
You're going to get fucked. So it was right there.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that was a record flood for Mount Vernon.
It wasn't. And the wall downtown held. Everything held. It was amazing.
Oh, yeah. They put that weird, like, portable flood wall in.
It's a flood wall. It's a portable flood
wall. And
I
saw, like, some water was, like, eking through underneath.
Normal.
Like little puddles. But it was still, like, 4 feet of water on the other side of that wall. That's a pretty interesting feat of engineering.
Isn't it?
Because water usually defeats everything.
Right.
Yeah, I saw that on Instagram. I was like, that's pretty fascinating.
Just big struts that hold it up. Who knows?
But it was funny because that was all happening right around when you'd kind of given the estimation that it's going to be time to bring Govan back down.
Yeah.
And then I text you and you said, actually, Govan is loving the evacuation.
Yes, he is.
So tell me about, I mean, we got about 15 minutes left.
Yeah.
You evacuated your entire dog training facility.
We did.
And you said Govan loved the process.
He did.
Which, of course, he did.
Dogs were like, what are we doing? Well, we got a horse trailer. We're loading dogs in crates. We double them up in there.
How many dogs did you have?
We had 17. 17 dogs. And so my friend calls, and her renter moved out of her place up in Big Lake. She's 5 acres up there. And she's like, hey, do you want to, I think you should, she called me early in the morning, like 6:30. She goes, I think you should evacuate. And I said, okay. And I just talked to her yesterday. She goes, you've never taken advice or help. I was like, whoa, she's actually taking me up on it.
Well, dude, that's the thing about an evacuation. I mean, there would be a part of me too that'd be like, fuck this, dude. We'll just see what happens.
Right.
But in this context, just waiting to see what happens could fucking cost you everything.
Yeah, and I was like, it's not worth it. These other people's dogs. We don't know how they're going to be. I mean, we did a paddleboarding class the whole summer with dogs, but that wasn't a solid plan.
Yeah.
Although I looked at my business partner, I was like, hey, the last thing you want to do is go pump up some of those paddle boards just in case.
Yeah. Well, you see meth heads are looting houses right now with kayaks. I think someone should be sitting on a roof with a Remington 700 and just fucking sinking them, dude.
Jeez.
And by sinking them, I mean shooting them in the back of the head.
It's ridiculous.
You're going to victimize people that are going through the hardest fucking thing of their entire life.
Yeah.
Evacuating your family, your pets, there's
Scavengers.
danger involved. You're losing your home. Like your home is your sanctuary.
But think about it. They don't have respect for that.
No, I know. They have respect for nothing. And
They don't have anything. They have no value. They have no self-worth.
That's dark, man.
It is really dark. And you have to look, why are they that? You know, the drugs and everything else, they have no self-worth. They're toxifying their body. They're toxifying they don't.
Their brain. Yeah, all of it.
Yeah. It's just sad. It's really, really, really sad that people exist in that state.
Well, and I mean, we could do a whole nother episode on this, but I also think that the drug crisis that is sweeping our nation, there is solutions. And it's mandatory treatment, and it's actually bringing human dignity back to these people,
Right.
instead of letting them continue to fucking just starve and freeze to death in the throes of addiction on a street corner. People
They don't
want
want
to
to
act
take
like
away their freedom.
no,
though,
people want to act like that's like, oh no,
their choice.
It's we have sympathy for these people, and that's why we support them putting their tents up and doing this and doing this. Like, no. You're perpetuating a really, really big problem.
Well, if you want to make it fair, then tax the tent.
yeah, exactly.
You
right?
tax mine.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, it's not fairness.
It's to the point. It's to the point where it's like it almost feels intentional. Why the fuck? Go be a police officer in Seattle because you've
follow the money.
Yeah. Exactly. People make $200,000 a year being part of the homeless crisis council and all the bullshit. Dude.
You bet. And as long as the crisis continues, they talk about it. It's the homeless industrial complex.
Yes.
And drugs are part of it. And they don't want it better because people are making a ton of money off this. And it's
so
not
gross.
It is gross.
And I get pulled back and forth myself because on one hand, when I see people looting houses and kayaks, I want to shoot them. And then on the other hand, it's like, fuck, man, look at this girl covered in fucking abscesses and sores. And it's like, that's someone's daughter.
Yeah.
Like, what can we do for her, you know?
You can't tell me the pharmaceutical industry cannot figure out implant technology and other things to combat and tie up derivative drugs so that they don't get a high off them like Antabuse did, other things. I mean, where's the funding for that?
Well, I mean, we've all seen this play out, especially in the Pacific Northwest, where your buddy throws his back out landscaping and devolves to a heroin addict on the streets.
Yep.
And I see that happen. And one guy that it happened to was like a really good friend of mine. He was one of my main training partners. He was a great jiu-jitsu athlete. And then it makes you wonder because, like, you always look at those people. I've had 1,000 of those people in the back of my patrol car.
Yeah.
I've had some really good conversations with those people too, which is like
It's scary. Then it brings the human side.
Yeah,
of it.
there are people inside of there.
Yeah.
And then you ask yourself, fuck, could that be me?
Right.
Because there's a part of me, it's like, there's no fucking way it could be me.
Right.
And then I've seen some really exceptional human beings get pulled into that. And then you realize, like, fuck, man, nobody is safe from that.
No.
Yeah, and I don't mean like everybody has the potential to be an addict, but what I do mean is people from all walks of life have the potential to fall into that fucking that cycle.
And it's controlled by insurance industry and how Western medicine does not meld. Insurance doesn't pay for integrative medicine. They don't pay for holistic stuff. They don't pay for nutrition. They don't pay for all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
We fought that when my dad's cancer. It was crazy. And, you know, he didn't do full chemotherapy rounds. As a matter of fact, he only died after he got a COVID vaccine and tumors exploded into his chest.
Fuck, dude.
He got rid of 40 of 41 tumors.
And then took the vaccine.
And we did fenbendazole. We did beef organ liver supplements. We did no sugar. We did all of the other things. And his body was healing itself until, for some reason, he went up to the pharmacy and got a COVID vaccine.
God, dude.
And I told him the whole time he had it, I'm like, don't get that thing. It'll replicate your tumor. And they knew it because back in the studies they were trying to create tumor vaccines and stuff with spike protein. And you could see in the research that was there. And I was smart enough to read all that. And I was like, I'm not taking it.
Well,
No
you
way.
see now that they put a black box warning on the COVID vaccine. And it's like, you were just a dumb dog trainer. I was just a dumb jiu-jitsu coach. Like, we couldn't have an opinion on these things because we were just dummies.
Yep.
Right? But you just said, I read a bunch of stuff and developed this opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, lo and behold, look what's happening now. It's so shocking that we got exposed to the biggest propaganda campaign in the history of humanity. And not only was it a propaganda campaign to like fucking just convince everybody of this thing.
Yeah.
But if you even had an opinion that was like, well, hold on a second. What about this?
Where's your mask?
Yeah, you hate grandmas. You're a murderer.
I know.
And it's like, and now here we are looking back on it. It's like, oh, well, killed your dad.
It did kill my
That's a
dad.
truth.
It is.
And
nobody will pay for that.
actually, I was just going to say, who the fuck is being held accountable for
I don't
this?
know. Pharmacy in Mount Vernon gave it to him. Why does a pharmacist give a stage 4 pancreatic cancer patient a vaccine of any sort? Shouldn't be vaccinating anybody with cancer.
God, man.
And yet all the rules went out the window.
Of course.
I'm like, Jesus, we didn't even vaccinate sick puppies. Why would you vaccinate? Like, why would you do that? But, everything we knew about science, everything we knew, it all got steered to one outcome. Unless you, the Army manipulated it. Gus went to see my dad on his deathbed. And because he was going to Bellingham from JBLM, he had to get the jab.
What do you mean? Because he was going from...
Because he was going more than an hour away.
So that's
finally mandated it on him.
Dude, fuck
And
the Army,
he had kind of like steered out of it as much. And I said, Gus, I've got an autoimmune. I don't know if you have that in your genetics. I wouldn't get it. You haven't got COVID yet. You're fine. You're not going to die from it. Let your immune system do its job.
And he was what at the time? 21 or something?
Yeah, like 20, 23 or something. Yeah.
Man, it's so sad that
Yeah.
all our young, healthy people got manipulated into this bullshit.
He got one vaccine. He didn't get any other. I said, do not get another one.
And the thing is, man, I was a 21-year-old soldier that would go to the battalion aid station and you'd stand there and they'd pump whatever they wanted into you. I have more vaccines than I could fucking count because the Army just fills you with them.
Yeah, I think
and
Gus got repetitive and they lose your records and give it to you again.
And it's like, I look back on that and it's like, well, thank God it wasn't the COVID era. Not to say that those other vaccines don't have detrimental effects on you as well.
Old technology, though.
Yeah.
It's different.
And so it's like, I see these young kids exactly like Gus. Dude, you're a 21-year-old soldier and you're stationed at Joint Base Lewis McChord.
Yeah.
You're probably just going to do what you're told because I don't think a lot of people have that fuck you energy until we get into our 40s.
Yep.
Like 40 for me is where I was like, became comfortable telling anyone on planet Earth, fuck you, do something about it.
Yep.
Sad.
Well, they don't. And then now you see all these cardiac problems and all this stuff, and we haven't even seen the end of it in our children.
No, and if we talk about that too, you're a fucking like radical conspiracy theorist. It's like, dude,
look at the data.
when did we see athletes? Remember for a couple of years there were soccer players dying on the field and shit all the time.
Yeah.
And died suddenly. Like, dude, soccer players, elite athletes,
no.
They don't die suddenly at 20 years old. The fuck are we talking about?
Yeah.
All right. So before we get pulled into that,
So rocket dog.
because I got 1,000, I don't
Right.
have 1,000 episodes. I have 287 episodes where a lot of it's been bitching about that.
Right.
But I do want to hear about how you successfully evacuated all the dogs
So we
and how that
did.
process worked out.
So, you just keep moving, right? So we just, right at that morning, I got up and I was like, here's the plan. I've moved dogs lots of times. So I'm like, let's just load up the trailer, load up the food. Got Gus, Charlie's there, Maria. Everybody helped. Christina, like my whole team. They just jumped in. And I was like, just go grab all those collars, grab all those leashes, grab all this food. And, we got everybody loaded up. Then we took off up there. And it was great. She has an odd-shaped garage, but it works out to about 4.5 car.
Okay.
And hydronic floor heat. It's perfect.
What's hydronic? Is that?
It's like they have water tubes in the floor and it heats the floor.
Yep.
So it's a great place for it. Backed up the big garage door, offloaded the dogs, put them all in crates, and then started. I left them there, and I'm like, okay, start working dogs, hand walking them, long line them.
Well, that's
everything.
what I was going to ask. Like, more difficult than the actual evacuation is your facility is set up very well to facilitate training.
Right.
And so, like,
And multitasking.
yes, and you have like different areas that are fenced off, and different kenneled areas, and different areas outside that are kenneled off for bathroom breaks and all that shit. That it seems like trying to just keep any type of consistency going on would become difficult.
They just started pulling dogs, working them on a long line, 2 at a time, and they take them for trail walks up there, which was really great.
Okay.
So
how big was the property?
It's a 5-acre property. It kind of goes back into the woods, but then it backs up to forest land.
Okay.
So then there's trails out there. So the dogs are just having a blast.
Well, I saw a video of a girl walking Govan, and he seemed like he was having the time of his life. So
having a great time. And you could go out front of the house and back, and she's at the end of the road, so there's really no place for a dog to go.
That's cool.
And so the dogs that were working on off-lead work, we could just leave a long line and call them. Dogs that were proficient, we could just run them off-lead. They had a great time. And then we just continued. And all the time, the whole time, Gus is trying to monitor getting called up because he's National Guard.
Well, and there was a lot of units being mobilized.
Yeah, BCO and ACO were getting, like all of his companies were getting, and he's like, but we're up there and it's bad cell service and everything. He's like, I can't even get signal. Like he's like,
I might miss the call. Shucks.
Yeah. It's like, I can't communicate. But they were pretty good. They asked if he was directly affected. So he said, yeah, I'm like babysitting 17 dogs, and they were pretty cool about it. So,
so his unit did get mobilized.
I think part of it, yeah. And so he was able to stay up there and work the dogs and everything, which worked out. And then I headed back down the hill thinking, I got to wrap stuff up at Rocket Dog. And we had some great clients that came in and helped as well. And we got everything up.
Okay.
Because I was like, it's all got to move up. And we got to unplug everything. And so then your place just becomes a shamble. I got all these Christmas trees. I got like 25 Christmas trees in there. I'm like, of course. Of course, this happens when there's Christmas trees. So we're having to like get all the climb tables for dogs and put everything up. And so and all the retail stuff, because we have that great store, and we just got it all up. And then we didn't get hit.
Well, you know how it would have went had you just gaffed it off and said, we're not getting hit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we were talking about that because like the sandbagging, I was like, I need to go back for more sandbags, and I have a storage building down there too.
And sandbagging is hard work.
It is. But it's not as bad. I didn't have to fill the bags, which was really great.
Where are you getting full sandbags from?
Full sandbags. They were down there. They had a machine that you dump the sand in, and then you just hold the bag underneath it. So they had volunteers were filling them. And then towards the end in the evening, the Army was down there, and they had pallets of them. And then they're loading.
Drive your nice ass truck down there and fill the bed up.
That's right.
I'm jealous of your truck, by the way.
I love that truck.
Yeah, it's a nice truck.
I got that after my dad passed away. And, I was like, my dad was a Denali guy, so I was like, that's it. So, and then recently, I had the hitch installed on it, and I got a fifth wheel. So,
oh, nice.
That's a new home for me,
dude. That's cool.
So, but Rocket Dog made it through that, and I just feel absolutely blessed. There's no way you can't do it by yourself. You got to rely on people, and luckily, I have so many good people in my life.
How many people do you have? Or actual, I don't know if you get employees there or trainers, whatever you call them.
We got a couple of W-2s, and we have some 1099 contractor trainers that just come in and do their class and leave.
Okay.
And so there's about 7 of us now. And, we've got over 100 years experience between all of us.
Dude, that's rad.
Pretty awesome. So, and we have everything from, a gal that specializes in clicker training. So we have some stuff like that, all the way up to behavioral, stuff. And Charlie does nose work, and he can do some protection stuff as well. And we're geared up to do all that. We're hoping to start up maybe a sport dog club, like a French ring sport club or something eventually. And then, finding a field locally to work on as well, because we don't have grass, we're all hardscaped, which is nice.
Well, we're an hour south, but I don't know if that field's big enough. You're welcome to use it anytime you want.
Yeah. It's amazing. Like,
or you know what? We also have that big granite property.
Yeah.
That might work for you guys if you're interested.
There's a lot of things. Like, one of the things that I'm developing, I want to do a whole camping with your dog series. I have my RV where we go to established campgrounds or RV parks and work on like those type of manners. Like when you're traveling with your dog, when you're doing things, what are proper manners, and do a whole like weekend workshop thing where you're, shooting the shit, sitting around a campfire, teach your dog how to not like grab your flaming marshmallow.
Not be an asshole when you're out in public.
Yeah, all that type of stuff, right? So there's more to come because it's the dream, right?
Okay. Yeah, of course.
And it's the vision.
You're living your passion, which is
a
fucking
passion.
rad.
Yeah, and you never should, even though it's hard work, and I want to say there's, been 120-hour work weeks. Like, that's just the way it is. Work from sun up to sundown. But you never stop thinking you have to look. And I think this over this last month, when things have been tougher at times, one of the things that keeps my mind clear, I have a gratitude journal.
Okay.
So I end the night or wake up in the morning and I write in the gratitude journal. You just date it. What are you thankful for? What is like, and it sets your mind perspective totally different.
Wow. Man, I've heard of that stuff forever and I've even dabbled in it, but it's probably time to actually buckle down and do that. Because every time you hear someone talk about that, it's exactly what they say. It's like, dude, it's a perspective shift like no other.
It keeps the negativity gone. The frustration, the grind is easier when you start thinking that you have the opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
And that you have a good mind, that you don't have disabilities preventing you from doing it. I mean, there's so many things I could be.
And how many people you're positively impacting by making their dog
and when you talk
happy to be home again.
Yeah. And when you talk about forgiveness, to tie it in, you say, every path that I walked got me here.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, the good and the bad was necessary.
You bet. You don't get to say, I wish I could erase that part. No, I wouldn't be where I am without Gene. I wouldn't be where I am without my dad. I wouldn't be where I am without my stepdad, without my business partner. All these people that have walked along this walk of my life, my son, everything else. You got to be thankful for it. And that's what keeps you forward thinking, not looking in the rearview mirror.
Oh, I feel that. Well, what a great way to wrap this up. Thank you for coming up. This turned into a really cool episode. Like I knew really it would be because we always we hang out and we like to shoot the shit. I knew it would be, but it even, I would say it even exceeded my expectations. A lot of good stuff today.
I think so.
So I'll put your Instagram, I'll put your website and everything in the show notes below. If people want to contact you and get your dog some professional training.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. If you are not a professional trainer, there's a good chance your dog needs some professional training.
Yeah. And I tell you what, we'll one up it. If you are listening to this podcast and you need help with your dog, you're just going to use an endless endeavor code and you get to come up for a free session.
Oh, there you go. One free session. You got nothing to lose now. So
yeah, absolutely nothing to lose.
Take advantage of that.
Yep.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. You bet.